Hello, my name is Ken Burke, and I'm your elected Clerk of the Circuit Court and Comptroller for Pinellas County. We have created a series of videos to assist you with completing the forms or packets that you will submit to either initiate your case or address issues that have arisen in a pending case. To ensure that your documents are processed quickly and efficiently, it is important that the documents are completed fully and properly. This short video will take you through the forms or packets as well as answer some of the most frequently asked questions. At any time, please feel free to pause the video and take a moment to fill out the applicable section. Once you have completed the form or packet, please refer to our website or contact our office for instructions on how and where to submit these documents. Should you have any additional questions regarding a family law, small claims, or landlord-tenant case, affordable legal services are offered through the Clerk's Self-Help Center. Please visit our website at www.mypinellasclerk.org for additional information. Thank you.
The following packets are used for residential, landlord, tenant evictions. They should be used for eviction due to non-payment of rent based on an oral or written agreement. Read through the entire packet, as it contains helpful information for how to proceed with your case. Depending on the circumstances, you may need to file a 1-count complaint for possession only, or a 2-count complaint for possession and damages. Both packets can be found online at mypinellasclerk.org. The fee for filing your case can vary based on your claim amount for damages. While the Clerk of Court cannot provide legal advice, the Self-Help Center has attorneys on hand for a reduced rate to assist with any questions for parties representing themselves. Go to mypinellasclerk.org to find out more information on assistance for self-representation. The Pinellas County Clerk is pleased to offer Turbo Court, which makes the task of filling out forms easier to understand and offers a convenient method to prepare forms, petitions, and other court documents for the following case types: domestic violence injunctions, dissolutions of marriage with children, dissolutions of marriage without children, and delinquent tenants evictions. Please visit turbocourt.com for further instruction. Before a delinquent tenant case can be filed, first you must deliver the notice from landlord to tenant, termination for failure to pay rent form. This notice must be mailed, hand-delivered, or posted on the property. Fill in the tenant's name and complete address, the name of the landlord, and the date the notice will be delivered. Read the statement within and complete with the required information. Make sure the date of delivery of rent or vacating the property is at least 3 days minimum from the notice, depending on your method of delivery. Sign and date the notice. Include your full address and phone number. Lastly, write the date of delivery to the tenant. If you had assistance filling out this form, enter the individual's name and contact information. If someone other than legal counsel helped you fill out the forms in this packet, they will need to fill out and sign a disclosure. You may be required to enter this information on other forms in this packet. Be sure to read through the entire form before filing it with the clerk. Read through the information provided and fill in all the appropriate information. The form must be signed by you and the individual who assisted you. Next, let's go over the information that is required on all pleadings filed with the clerk. The case style states who is the plaintiff and who is the defendant in a lawsuit. The plaintiff is the party initiating this action, and the defendant is the party against whom the action is initiated. The case number is a unique number used to identify your case. Case numbers are assigned in sequential order in the court it is filed in. This will be provided to you when you file your case. A case number may also be referred to as a reference number or UCN number. Always remember to sign and date any document where a signature is required. Some documents, such as affidavits, must be notarized. Wait to sign these documents until you are in the presence of a notary or deputy clerk. This form is only used if you are a property manager filing a complaint on behalf of a landlord. Read through the document and fill in the appropriate information. Signatures of both the landlord and property manager are required. Next, you will fill out the civil cover sheet. This document is used for reporting judicial information pursuant to the Florida statutes. Check the box corresponding with the type of case you are filing. Fill in the remaining information. Note that the causes of action are the individual claims in a lawsuit. For example, in a delinquent tenant case, possession of the property is one cause, or count, and damages is a separate cause, or count. If you are unsure what information to put, the front counter staff can assist you with filling out this form when you file your case. Next, you will complete the complaint for eviction. Enter the party information and read through the complaint. Let's go through this document line by line to familiarize you with the fields that you will see throughout the forms within this packet. Enter the party information, the full property address, the amount from the rental agreement and the period of time rent was not paid, and the date the tenant was served with the notice to pay rent or deliver possession. Attach a copy of the notice to your complaint. Attach a copy of any lease or written agreement to your complaint. If you are suing for possession and damages, fill in the total amount of rent due and the dates that rent payments were missed. A summons is issued by the clerk to the defendants, notifying the party that a lawsuit has been filed against them. Depending on if your case involves damages, this may change which summons is issued. Possession requires 5 days to respond to the complaint, and damages requires 20 days to respond once the summons has been served. Using the incorrect summons may result in a delay in your case and cause you to incur additional costs. Fill in all the appropriate information. Be sure names and addresses are correct, as incorrect information may result in a return of non-service. Leave these fields blank. A deputy clerk will review your summons and issue it if all requirements are met. The remaining forms in the delinquent tenant packet may or may not need to be filed depending on the defendant's response to the summons. Refer to the delinquent tenant checklist and flowchart included in your packet to determine how to proceed or seek advice from an attorney or our self-help center. A non-military affidavit is filed when the court must know the military status of a defendant. Active service members are granted certain protections under the Soldiers and Sailors Civil Relief Act. Fill in the appropriate information. Multiple defendants can be listed on one affidavit. Affidavits are notarized documents. Wait until you are in the presence of a notary or deputy clerk to sign your name. Check the box for which type of service you will use and fill in the defendant's full address. Depending on the defendant's response, you may need to file a motion for default. The clerk and the court can enter a default on the defendant. Please refer to the checklist in your delinquent tenant packet for more information. Read through the motion and enter the names of the defendant. You may motion the clerk to enter a default on multiple defendants on one form. Leave this space blank. The clerk will review your motion upon filing and enter a default against the defendant if all requirements are met. The motion must be served on all parties not previously defaulted. Fill in the party names and the full address of the defendants. If any response is received or money is deposited into the court registry, the judge assigned to your case will need to rule on the motion for default. Fill in all the fields with the appropriate information. Leave this part blank. The judge will review the motion with the case file and make a determination whether to enter the default. A motion for default final judgment motions the court to enter a final judgment on your case after the defendants have been defaulted. Read through the motion and fill in the defendant's name and the date of default for the defendants listed. If you are filing the motion for default final judgment with a motion for default, the date of default can be left blank. A motion to set cause for non-jury trial is filed when a matter needs to be heard in front of a judge. Read through the motion and sign and date, filling in the required contact information. Remember to submit the motion and proposed order with copies and envelopes for each party. Once your motion and proposed order are filed with the clerk, you will need to contact the judge's office to set a date for a non-jury trial. Judicial information can be found at jud6.org. Leave this portion blank. It will be filled in by the judge if your motion for non-jury trial is granted. Read through the information at the bottom of the motion and order, which provides instructions should you need an accommodation to attend the non-jury trial. This should be done at least 7 days before your scheduled court appearance. Before submitting your final judgment, fill in all the case information. This judgment is used for count 1 or eviction of a delinquent tenant case. Remember to submit your proposed judgment with copies and pre-addressed stamped envelopes for each party, including yourself. Read through the judgment and fill in all the appropriate information. It is important that the party names and property information are correct, as this can affect the execution of a writ of possession. Enter the city and county information for the location of your case. Courthouses are located in the cities of Clearwater and St. Petersburg. If you are unsure of the location assigned to your case, contact the clerk's office or view your case information online at mypinellasclerk.org. When you receive a final judgment for eviction, you may need to file a writ of possession to regain possession of the property. This writ is issued by the clerk and executed by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department. There is a $90 fee owed to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for execution of the writ. Please see the Sheriff's website for more information. Enter the full address of the property. If any information entered does not match the final judgment, the clerk may not be able to issue the writ of possession. Leave this portion blank for the clerk's date and signature. Lastly, enter your full name, address, and telephone number. It is important that this information is correct, as the Sheriff's Department will use it to contact you. The following forms are used if a second count for damages are being sought. They are very similar to the forms shown for count 1. Remember to consult the packet information or seek legal advice if you are unsure which forms to use. An affidavit of damages is a notarized document stating the monetary damages incurred. Fill in the case information, including all parties and case number. Read through the affidavit and fill in all the appropriate information. Affidavits are notarized documents. Wait until you are in the presence of a notary or deputy clerk to sign your name. Fill in the method of service used to deliver a copy of the affidavit to all other parties. A second summons for damages may need to be issued if the first summons was served by being posted on the property or did not allow 20 days for response. This summons will be filled out the same way as the summons for count 1 possession. Leave these fields blank. A deputy clerk will review your summons and issue it if all requirements are met. If a summons for damages was issued and no response was received within 20 days, you may need to file a motion for clerk default. This is filled out the same way as the motion for clerk's default for possession. Be sure to leave the default portion blank for the clerk's signature. This form is for motioning the court for a judgment of damages. This motion should be filed with a proposed final judgment, including copies and envelopes. Fill in all the appropriate party information and case number. Read through the motion and sign and date, including all requested information, including telephone number. Remember to submit the motion and proposed order with copies and envelopes for each party. Once your motion and proposed order are filed with the clerk, you will need to contact the judge's office to set a date for the non-jury trial. Judicial information can be found at jud6.org. Before submitting your proposed final judgment, fill in all the case information. Read each line of the judgment and enter the appropriate information. This judgment is used for count 2 or damages of a delinquent tenant case. Remember to submit your proposed judgment with copies and pre-addressed envelopes. Read through the judgment and fill in all the appropriate information. It is important that the party names and property information is correct, as this can affect the execution of your judgment. Leave these fields blank. The judge will enter the information if they rule in favor of the judgment. A defendant may deposit their rent monies into the court registry while the lawsuit is ongoing. This motion is used to release those funds to the appropriate party. Fill in the case number and party information. Read through the form, sign and date including your full address and telephone number. Submit the motion and proposed order with all the necessary copies and envelopes for each party. If you need to dismiss your case before receiving a judgment on one or both counts of your complaint, you may need to file a notice of voluntary dismissal. Enter the full name of the plaintiff who is dismissing the case. A copy of the notice must be served on all other parties. Mark the method of service used and the date. Enter the defendant's full information, then sign, date, and enter your information below. If you have any questions about filing your case with the Pinellas County Clerk's Office, reach out to us at 727-464-7000 or make an appointment to speak with an attorney at any of our 3 self-help centers.